Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brooke, and here you will find a bunch of videos on houseplants. And I do DIYs on my shorts, so if you are new here and you have not yet, subscribe so you can be up to date on all my latest videos. If you are a recurring viewer, thank you so much for returning and watching another video from me. Super exciting. And today, I'm finally going to pot this Anthurium or Queen Anthurium Warnequianum. That's just going to be like, it's like Pink Panther, you know, the hamburger. Queen Anthurium. And I did a video on it as a June favorite, I believe. And I did not have soil to pot it up at the time. And so I now have soil and I am going to repot it. So it has been in just the same potting mix. If you want to go check out my little like unboxing video, it is also another video. I got these from Florida, and so it's been hanging on. And I have done some research on them and have kind of figured out that they like a soilless mix. And so I have created that. Normally, I just go to the store and I purchase potting soil like from Fertiloom or Espoma, couldn't think of it. And then I add in charcoal or orchid bark or perlite or all of them and create a soil mix. But I have read specifically these guys don't enjoy that. And so I am going to be doing something new, and I am going to be repotting this up in it. I was kind of tired again of like just buying the different pieces and kind of mixing them together and making it work, because in reality, your houseplants don't like to sit in just soil. If you are having them in an indoor condition like this, if you are having a lot of fungus gnat issues or experiencing that, it's because of the soil mix. The soil either that you're purchasing has the pests in it. I know somebody made a good comment about that because I was only worried about you overwatering it and creating that pest issue. But yeah, you can purchase it with the fungus gnat eggs in it and larvae, and it's just a really big mess in my personal opinion. And so I've been kind of thinking about it and processing where to go and what to do. And I have sourced my own materials because soilless mixes are expensive. Let's be really honest. It's really expensive for a small bag. And so I spent a lot of time trying to figure out where to get it and make sure that it's like good product and all of that. Figured it out. I have a feeling it's going to work. I have watched tons of videos and people and researched soils. So this is what we've come down to. Anyways, all this to say, my queen is going to get the first test run of it. So I already know that this is well rooted and it looks good. My only question is if I was going to pot it up on a moss pole or not. Now, normally I would say yes, because, wow, moss. Because these are a climber, and so they want something to climb. Their foliage will get larger as they climb up, and it's just good for the plant if you want it to grow and mature to its full form. However, I don't have a very large pot. The root system on this is super well defined, and this is too small. This is, I believe, a 6-inch pot. So I got a larger 8-inch pot, and I thought about potting it up just in that, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. I don't know. Yeah, so this is what it would be going to. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to add it. The only reason I had hesitations is because there is no new growth point on this plant yet, so there is no aerial root area for it to like grow into the pole, and I felt awkward just having a moss pole among all of my other things, moss poles and stuff, but I think I'm going to do that. So I got to go get scissors. 1 second. I got to cut it out of this smaller pot. So while I do that, which will be like 2 seconds, so this mix that I have prepared is a mixture of things that I have seen off of other plant pages, other people, you know, doing it to some degree. And so really in your soils, when you're in an indoor setting, they do not need to retain as much water. You might want them to retain some of them, because I don't like watering every day. I personally don't love watering every week, but in the summertime, it's a thing. You have to. However, you shouldn't be just like letting a plant like this sit in soil that is super moist and like just stagnant for weeks or months. It's not good for the plant. That is what creates root. That's what creates root rot and the fungus gnat issue that so many of us have experienced currently looking at one. It is really well draining and super coarse soil, and so it won't retain the water that soil does. And so in an outdoor setting, I get it. You want soil because you don't want to water your plants every day, every week, every, whatever. You want them to retain water. And out there you deal with the elements. So it could be super dry for a long period of time, and it could be very muggy, or humidity levels could be really high, heat could be high, all of those things. And that is going to dry your soil out. So you do want a moisture retaining soil for your outdoor plants. So not talking about them, but inside, I don't want that. I don't want them to be sitting in water drowning, basically, because the water has nowhere to go. In an outdoor setting, again, if you have a soil mix, just direct soil mix, the water has areas to go. It goes around, like down, and it goes out and it evaporates. Inside, it just stays there. And so using a really coarse soil mix is a must. Now, I do, again, try to make my soil mixes as coarse as possible with the elements that I can find around me and that are available. Again, that's by using bark, charcoal, perlite with the soil. But I am completely taking the soil out of the mix and just having those like aeration elements. Oh, thank you so much. Love you. By using this soilless mix, I'm kind of eliminating maybe a pest issue. You can still overwater your plants with the coarsest of soil, but I'm kind of maybe, eliminating that issue and eliminating the root rot and the plant just sitting in the soil for an extended period of time. Now, again, to combat this, if you do use a coarse soil, you can always use a plastic pot. So this is what I use. I use a plastic pot for a majority of my plants. I would say 99% of my plants are in these plastic nursery pots. That helps retain the moisture. So if you are using a super coarse soil, you can use a plastic so that it won't get sucked out as quickly versus using a terracotta. A terracotta is a porous material, and so it sucks the water out as well as the plant is. So it can get a little annoying when both plant and the pot are sucking the water out and you're like trying to keep up with watering and you can't. So if you are struggling with that using a coarse soil, I would suggest switching to a plastic pot or ceramic pot, something that is not porous and going to suck the water out. I have the moss pole out. I have my plant. I need to take the soil off of it and put this somewhere. I'm going to very gently remove the plant, trying to get as much off as possible without like being damaging to the plant. But this has a really good root system right here. Like, this is really nice. Yeah, Bo, do you see the fly? Get it, please. Get it. Back there. This is what we're left with. It's a really good root system. And so I am just going to pot it up in the new medium that I have and the new pot. Everything in this mix that I am using, I have previously used. So minus, it doesn't have charcoal. So it's got orchid bark, it has coco coir, has perlite, pumice, vermiculite, leca. I'm trying to think, like pumice, and then the tree fern. Like, it's got a lot of aeration to it, but also things that hold water and moisture, because again, I don't love to water my plants every day or every other day. So the vermiculite I know will hold water without like causing, again, that like compactedness that soil does. Coco coir will hold some water. Leca will hold water. The other elements, tree fern fiber will hold water. The other elements are good for aeration because your roots do need air. They need to dry out. They need to get the air so they can grow. They don't like to be suffocated. So think of it that way. If you are continuously watering your plant, it's basically causing suffocation. Now, some plants like that. Alocasia and peace lilies and calathea and maranta, they love that. But this specific mix is made for like Anthuriums, philodendron, monsteras, pothos. I would not recommend this to again, an alocasia or I'm trying to think, like a calathea for sure, like no go on those plants. We are going to pot it up. I have just put this just sitting down here like that, and then I will fill it with soil. So I'm going to mix my soil up. Also, why I stopped using charcoal and don't have charcoal in this mix. Charcoal is a great like addition to create some aeration. However, it is so like smoky and potent and just not good to breathe in. I feel like I don't know. It could be. I mean, people put it on their face, I know, but I just wasn't loving breathing it in. Like I think you just saw some perlite. So I've also tried to not use a lot of perlite because I don't like the dust. I guess that's what I'm trying to think of. I don't like the dust. I don't want to breathe it in. Just backfilling it a little bit and filling in that moss pole. I'm just going to stick this guy in front here and fill in the rest. I guess you really can't see this. Sorry, let's bend down. Settle that in there. Okay, so this is the new potting soil that it's in. That is what it looks like. And we'll see how it does. That is that guy. He's all potted up. And I have this sitting in my southwest facing window right here next to my mammy eye, and it's been doing well. And so I will just place it back. I'm going to give it a good water and set it in its same spot and see if it grows. Now this leaf was already like this, by the way, if you didn't catch my last video. I assume that's how it was packaged and whatnot because it's how it's been the entire time. This leaf though is perfect. So that is that guy. I will set him back up and we'll see how he grows. Moving on, because it's kind of a repot. So I have this philodendron jungle boogie, and it has started growing leaves in the, yeah, it's not going to be awesome. It rooted incredibly quick and started growing new leaves almost immediately after I chopped this, I feel like. I chopped it back because it started growing really funky. It was sitting under my Brina T5 Grow Light, and I figured out that it doesn't like the light. It started getting burned. Those are burn marks, and just was not liking the high light that it was getting because it was growing up and closer to it. And so it, yeah, was growing very weirdly. And I chopped it all back and have restarted it. And so I was going to pot it up in my new soil mix to try it out as well. And it's now sitting on top of the shelf and not under the grow lights, and has been doing, again, a lot better. Like it grew all of this, which is crazy to me. So I'm going to try and get it out of here the best I can without damaging those leaves. But I have a feeling it's not really going to be great because they're already damaged. This is a good reminder to those who are, you know, propagating plants. Don't use a small neck glass. Use a wide neck, because if this happens, it's a lot easier to get them out of. Oh my gosh. I'm happy that all, I believe, of the cuttings I took rooted, which is really nice. I have propagated, I just broke that leaf off, which was to be expected. It has its own root system though, so I'll keep that guy. Learn from my mistakes. Don't put your plants that close to the grow light, specifically like these guys. They don't like it. So this is this one cutting. This was the top cutting. So this is the leaf that got stuck, and it has a new growth point down below as well. Both of these do actually. So I'm hoping that those points will start growing correctly, since the others got a little deformed in the jar. Okay, so there's that guy. I really did like this plant a lot. It's what was one of my favorites because the way it grew was so interesting, and I still love the Ring of Fire. It's growing really well and doing awesome. Set him off the side. Again, I'll give him a good water with the fertilizer, and hopefully he'll be good to go. Next and last plant, I think, is this Philodendron radiatum. So I have it, gosh, today I'm tongue-tied. This was listed as a gain, but someone so kindly told me that it was a radiatum because it was really small when I got it, and it still is. It's very juvenile, but I knew it wasn't a mayoi because I have one of those and it does not look the same. And so yeah, this is a radiatum, and it has been growing in the same pot. So you can see it's really good root system. The roots were growing out the top, and so that's a good sign that your plant needs to be repotted, or if the roots are growing down the bottom or out the bottom. I don't know if I'm going to get the soil off of this because it's so well root bound. And normally I would just keep it because I would just put the new soil around it. However, this is a soilless mix that I'm using now, and so I'm going to try to gently get the soil off. This guy's been really easy to care for. It sits all the way back on that shelf, so like about 6 feet from that southwest facing window. And I water this when I remember. So it is in a just straight soil mix, and I think that that's what has helped it, because this is still wet and I don't remember the last time I've watered this. But it is okay. It's doing really well. It has grown a lot. I have recently propagated it, cut it off because it was growing all wonky, which my husband was like, I liked the way it was growing, but it was growing up the wall and going kind of crazy like these plants do. So I just chopped it back, propagated it, and yeah, we'll see what it does. But this guy's been a very easy to care for plant so far. This guy's leaning too. It's looking to climb. It's got its aerial roots are coming out really nicely. And I thought about putting it on a moss pole, but I just really haven't wanted to do that. So this guy is all potted up because I like how he grows. It's funky. It's weird. Like some of his, look, some of the petioles are just like weirdly, shaped. But I will keep him in that and water him. I'm going to do one more. So I have this philodendron soderoy, and it's given me real philodendron brandy vibes, if anybody knows what I'm saying, where it's kind of needy. It's not dying, but it's not doing great. And I just am a little on a struggle bus with it. But I can see that the older leaves, like this is the old leaf down here, is dying off. Same for this side. This guy looks really good. Almost looks like it has, no, that's okay. Whew. It's like almost looks like it has thrips, but was my eyes deceiving me. However, it has been pushing off like new growth, like it has thrips. It's actually becoming very variegated, if that it makes sense. So it's creating its own little special variegation, which most variegations that you see that are like the cool ones are not typical. They're mutations in it. And so that's what's happening here. So it's starting to be, see right there and right there, mutated in its color, where it should be like this. And I thought there is one little spot right here of variegation, but again, it's not great. This side is doing really well. So you can see here, this is the newest leaf. This side is great. This side, however, you see how small it is and weird? I feel like I just want to propagate that off and then pot up this one side. So my brandy, I only have them left in terrariums. So I have one stuck behind there. I'm not going to do it, but then I have another one. That is the only time I've been able to keep a brandy alive. I can't keep it alive outside of that, and it does really well there. So maybe I will do the same. I'll chop this guy back and just pot this guy up, keeping it in a 4-inch pot because I have a feeling they may be 2 separate plants. So let's check it out. Now, all of these I have not potted up. So all of these plants, like the radiatum, I have had since I purchased it from the nursery. This soderoy, I have had it since I purchased it. So they are all in this just soil mix, which is normal for a nursery because, again, they have the correct airflow, the correct humidity, the correct temperature, the correct watering system. Like, they have everything down to a science. And so putting them in soil is not a big deal to them because they don't have to worry about the issues that are just in a normal house situation that you can't control. And so again, it's okay. Like, it's totally normal if you want to keep your plants in soil. But in the long run, I'm just realizing that for me and my plant collection, it's going to be a lot easier to do it soilless. So, because I can't control that. It's been like it's 73 in here. My humidifier has had a really hard time keeping up because the air is on. It's super hot outside. It's dry in here. And yeah, I don't know why I'm saying that, but just difficult situations to control. So I feel like if I can control the soil mixture and just making it soilless, I can control one element. Maybe that's what I'm looking for, is control. Not really, but kind of, because I don't like being out of control of my plants. So these are 2 plants, and they are really intertwined. So I'm not even going to bother it. I'm just going to chop it then. So I'm going to chop this side off that's growing, the smaller leaves that are deformed. I'm going to chop it back, which kind of is a bummer because it has roots. Okay, so I've chopped it back. Again, I kind of want to just pour water on this and twist this leaf out because it's going to be a little thing, but you can see the coloration difference in there, or discoloration. See that? Variegation. So who knows? Maybe this will be a variegated soderoy. Not really worried about that. I don't prefer that because that means that it's probably going to be even more of a pain in the butt. But I will keep this guy. Its root system really wasn't that defined. So I'm going to keep it in a 4-inch pot because there's no sense of potting this up. And then I will put it in the new soilless mix. So that could be part of the problem. This could be an overwatering issue, to be honest with you, the way the leaves look, because it does look, I mean, they are yellowing. And again, it is a full yellow. That's why I was like, oh, maybe it is a pest issue, because pest issues, those can happen too, but mostly with pest issues, the entire leaf doesn't turn yellow. It's specific portions of it that will start to discolor. But this soil was really wet and moist. So I'm wondering that if I was just watering it too much and it didn't like that. The brandy, I feel like that was my issue too, is I could never get the watering correct. On top of, I feel like it needed a lot of humidity. And I just couldn't give that to it. But I will pop this portion up because again, you can see, like, maybe you can't. They're yellowing. This leaf is yellowing. And it's kind of a bummer. This leaf is yellowing. Brandies, again, are a plant that I haven't been able to figure out. They are beautiful, and I love the foliage. And so I saw this, and I really did think it was a brandy because it looks very similar. The only thing that's different about them is the soderoy leaves are longer. The brandies are way shorter and more heart leaf. And these will grow super large. I'm sure the brandies will as well. But I'll just keep this side because, again, it looks like it's good. I'm going to pop this guy up, stick the other part of the soderoy in the sphagnum moss that I pulled my philodendron. Oops, just broke that leaf off. Fine. I will probably stick that in sphagnum moss that I pulled my philodendron jungle boogie out of. Also, I feel like I should coin or do a t-shirt or something with, oops, I pulled that leaf off, because my husband's like, in every video you're always destroying your plants. It happens. It's okay. Just stick it in that. Again, it's in this new soil mix. I'm going to see how it does. Maybe again the watering issue, or the watering was the issue with this. So hold on. Okay, good. We're good. So I will stick this. I am going to have to cut some of the leaves off the bottom in order to stick it in the sphagnum moss. But I'm okay with that because, again, this leaf is almost completely yellow and dying off already. And the smaller leaves down below are almost as well. Like you have that one. Don't know if it's focusing, whatever. My bangs are crazy. But I'm going to also do that. So I will leave all of this to be in the moss. And I will just stick it up on my shelf where my jungle boogie was. It'll just be a replacement. We'll be just turning plants. I can just get one rooted. I think that will be awesome. Or like one plant, part of the plant to do well. I think that will be a win. So I will stick him back. I didn't plant this in a terracotta. I don't know why. I just did it, but I'll just put it back where it was. I need to water it first. I think that was it. I did way more repotting and I still have more soil left. So I mixed up a gallon of it and that's how far I got. So I got to pot two 6-inch plants, one 4-inch plant, and one 8-inch plant, and I still have more. So that's a good sign. That was it. Thank you so much for watching and joining. Let me know in the comments if you are on like a soilless plant-based material, whatever you plant your plants in. I'm really curious to see, because again, this is kind of a new venture. I've just decided to turn and do something like different that I've seen other people doing, clearly, obviously, but has been working out for them. And so I am now trying to see how it works for me. So if it has worked for you, let me know in the comments what you use and what you like in your soil and what you think helps. Otherwise, make sure to subscribe and we'll see you next time.